Today's episode of Northern Lights is presented by North Star Law Group, your trusted partner in Minnesota's burgeoning legal cannabis industry. Whether you're just starting out or looking to expand, attorney Jen Riza and her team will help you understand the latest developments, scope out risks, and find a compliant path forward in this rapidly changing field. Visit northstarlaw.com and let North Star Law Group guide you through the legal landscape with confidence.
And we're live. Hey. Welcome, guys. Hello to our first live episode of Northern Lights. Coming to you from the Dabbler Depot studio. But guys, it looks a bit different in here.
Where are we? This is a lot different. We're in the Zen Den.
We are in the Zen Den at the new Dabbler Depot location. Some of you might have seen these flyers around. You stopped in the Dabbler Depot. You went, hey, that's not the address I've been driving to. Suddenly, a new Dabbler Depot location appears. 951 Payne Avenue in St. Paul. A different neighborhood in St. Paul. But guys, so happy to be here.
The east side.
The other side of St. Paul. And who else was looking out for the donut driving up here?
Oh, yeah. Looking for the sprinkled donuts with like the pool noodles glued right on front. I mean, sprinkles glued right on front.
Sprinkles.
And wow.
But I would do say I love this new location. Walking in, seeing all the arts.
Oh yeah.
Work.
I walked in and there are hands literally sticking out of the wall right behind me right now. You guys definitely have to come in and check this out because the artwork here. I mean, I love the vibes of the other location.
Did you check out the hands? Did you see the fingerprints? Do you see what's in the DNA of these hands?
No.
You can kind of see it right above your shoulder.
Oh
What's
my
that look
gosh.
like?
There are pot leaves in the fingerprints of the hands.
The hands, yeah.
Oh my God.
This place is called Seed and Sesh. It's a new concept by Dabbler Depot.
That's dope.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. Sorry, I got my headphones stuck here.
This is the future of Minnesota retail cannabis. I mean, this is going to be a full-fledged dispensary, but on the highest levels. Shout out to the Dabbler Depot.
Highest levels.
Is there a plan to do like hemp shop on one side?
I think they'll take it year by year.
Yeah, but it's really nice in here.
Oh, we got Robert Erdman in the building, the ticket winner from the Minnesota Cannabis College spring semester classes.
Ayo.
Robert.
He's got some pretty good education under his belt now.
Yeah.
The semester is nearly done, and man, he's got some good plants growing.
Coming up, we'll
Highly
have
educated.
Pifton a little later in the show. They'll be dropping in with some new beverages.
Yeah, so we should explain a little bit about what we're doing here tonight. So if you're streaming in live right now, welcome. We're, of course, live at the Dabbler Depot studio. If you're listening to this on Monday, you're thinking like, hey, where's that regular episode? I thought you guys said we had an interview coming out. And we do. Next week. It is 4/20. We had to take the week off from our usual sessions, our usual stuff, and
we hope you enjoyed our episode on Saturday.
yeah, that 420 special. Oh, so I was putting the finishing touches on it a bit earlier today. I was laughing to myself about jokes that I wrote to tell you guys, and I'm excited for other people to see it, and hopefully.
See how funny Tanner.
We hope you enjoyed the story.
Yeah. If you're wondering why is it 420, why is that a special holiday? Well, we've got a children's story. It's styled like that you can listen to tells you the origins of that. If you want to hear a little bit more about some of our ideas on good cannabis businesses or maybe some really bad ones, you can listen to that. Or if you guys want to guess what the real strain name is, ooh.
We hope you had
That's my funnest game.
Yeah.
Play fun games, win fun prizes.
Oh, yeah. Now, guys, while we're here, before we invite some incredible people that are vending here at the Dabbler Depot, the new Seed and Sesh, I want to just talk a little bit about some of the cannabis news because there was some really big stuff that happened this week. So let's just briefly take a minute to talk about that, and then we can go back to the fun, okay?
What's happening?
Guys.
John, what's happening
What's happening?
with the new bill?
Yesterday, from time we're recording, last Thursday to whoever's not watching this live, the House passed the cannabis bill with the new OCM proposals. Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
That's when you guys are going to say, ooh.
Omnibus.
Yeah.
Cannabis.
The Can Omnibus bill. Yeah.
Omnibus.
So it passed 69 to 62, if I'm recalling correctly,
Yep.
making its way through the House. It's now sort of up to the Senate to be able to move something forward.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Good. No, I was going to say it was really interesting to see some of the compromises that were made on the floor versus the ones that were made in committee, and also some of the issues that were raised as people really wanting a specific change, especially our friends over on the Republican side of the aisle, hearing more about some of the amendments that they were floating and that were not accepted.
That were not accepted. It's always a good time to see Zach Stevenson in his elements, which is shutting down
Good
his
old
Republican
Stevenson.
colleagues.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they
In a-
want to
a
throw all
respectful
the bad
manner,
ideas
in
on the table.
the most respectful manner.
Yeah, he's good at it. He is.
Shout out to Zach
I
Stevenson.
mean, being a prosecutor helps. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's trained.
So I'm going to quick run through some of the things that came out of that bill. I got the summary here. Here's some of the things that we will see passed on to the Senate to perhaps get written into law. OCM is going to create those social equity applicant provisional licenses. It's like a pre-approval. Essentially, it's going to allow social equity applicants to figure out ahead of time, am I going to get this license? Am I not going to? Through a lottery system. That is only a lottery if there are more applicants than there are licenses, which, I mean, that makes sense. A lottery that wouldn't really work out. We also saw medical cannabis patients would be permitted to have up to 16 plants per residence, and they would be able to give 8 of those plants to a caregiver.
Yeah.
Now, really stripped back from the original version, only one patient per caregiver, so we're not going to see people with like 70 plants in their home, but at least a route for people to get homegrown cannabis if they can't do it themselves.
I think in the future they should try to amend that because there's going to be some real master growers. Just because people can grow at home doesn't mean they're going to produce the quality of cannabis that they need. So when specialists emerge, they should be granted the opportunity to cultivate for multiple people.
I believe they call that
some trash.
I think what they refer to that as is a micro business license. No, I'm just kidding.
I was
No.
gonna say, yeah.
No.
I mean, I feel
There
like-
absolutely is an
incentivize
in-between.
people to go get that micro business license.
That's the new product that
Get-
they're offering.
yeah. Get your
I mean, that's
medical
better if
endorsement,
you're really commercial.
pay
though.
your fees.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, because we could talk about that all night. They're going to allow THC beverages to be sold on tap. So
Woo.
technically, right now, you can't have a tap of a THC beverage. This would change that. Really, a smart move moving forward.
Tanner,
Oh yeah.
I'm pro keg.
Oh, wait a second, guys. Am I going to be able to buy a THC?
I was gonna
Keg
say you
as a
really have to
consumer.
think about it, Tanner. You can get a keg at your house. You can go on your hands upside down.
I've been hearing
Just
about the first
sip.
keg chug. Like someone wants to be the first.
Whoa. What a way to be written into Minnesota cannabis history. There was like the first guy to get arrested. There was the first guy to like argue in front of a judge, like, no, this is unjust. And then there was that guy that did the keg stand with a THC hemp-derived beverage. That's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet.
Coming to you July 2024.
Oh, yeah. It would allow veterans receiving care from the Department of Veterans Affairs to automatically be enrolled in the state's medical program. They don't have to seek an additional doctor's approval. They can just get it through the VA because the VA can't technically give that referral.
Yeah.
It allows them to have that route. It also allows it for medical providers to be able to prescribe or recommend, if you will, medical cannabis for any condition. No longer just a list of the 17, 18 that we had. It's now if your doctor feels your life could be improved medicinally from cannabis, they can refer you to the med program.
It's about time. I mean, they've known this since like the 1800s.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's absolutely
Never
insane.
too late.
Yeah,
It's crazy though. We've had this this medical system for
Yeah.
a decade now.
oh yeah.
And
They're just now.
they're getting there after legalization. It's like, okay, yeah.
Wow.
Rather late than never.
Wow, they were so limited with medical for so long.
That's because it's political. It's not scientific, and it's drug war culture. This is the U.S.-American drug fucking war.
Facts.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, other things.
Oh, John, did you want some potatoes?
No, I'm just
It's just hash.
Wait, Steve, how do you make hash?
Oh,
No.
so-
We'll
Oh,
do that
sorry,
later.
I'll tell you later.
All right, some other big changes that we saw come out of that. It prohibits the sale of low-potency hemp edibles to any obviously intoxicated person. That's not the big change, but that is a change. It's so if someone is clearly under the influence of cannabis, you're not supposed to sell them hemp-derived beverages.
No.
Currently, today, there's no real cap on that.
This just puts us it puts us in real regulation.
I would advocate that
it.
you shouldn't sell drunk people hemp-derived
Exactly.
beverages as well.
Yeah.
I would say leave people alone if they're not impaired.
Yeah.
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 But it equalizes it with like the alcohol laws we have right now.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to do so we can
Oh yeah.
keep
Keep on going.
drinking these guys.
So
yeah.
we can.
So we
Yeah.
can, exactly.
Some other big changes that we saw come out of there. It permits hemp-derived products to be able to be shipped out of state for testing. Now, you might think like, Tanner, they're doing that today, and they are. But that's allowed under temporary rules. Under the rules that were going to go into effect, it actually would cap them to just being tested in Minnesota. Now it says it's a federally legal product. You can send it anywhere in the country for testing. Let's see. Other things. You can't sell packages that's supposed to look like a cannabis product. So, like, you can't be selling bags that say cookies on it. And
Skittles.
yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Let's
knows
see.
that every corner store owner.
It makes the Cannabis Advisory Council study how legalized cannabis impacts the rate used by minors. It moves up the date that the Cannabis Management Month announced the completion of an initial application period to November 15th of this year. So if this bill passes, we're going to see that application period close no later than November 15th.
Wow.
That means we're going to see probably license being approved on that provisional side by the end of the year,
Yeah.
For everybody?
just for the social equity applicants. Yeah, great question. Yeah, it's just on
But
that
by then-
pre-approval.
Yeah, but we'll have licenses. The application will start being available for everyone else at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to start issuing their license application process in the summer, like middle of the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just talking to OCM, and they want to get this done. They're
Yeah.
not playing.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
we're going to be impressed in the end.
I really do. I really do think so. I feel like they're trying and they're working hard. It's still very small staff.
Yeah.
So it's like,
But we have good work ethic in culture in Minnesota. So if they hired a quality team, which they absorbed and created, then, you know, they have good work ethic.
yeah.
I mean, they're going to hire like 150 people to process these thousands of applications, and they're going to get it done. And they're going to,
Yeah.
I think they're going to do pretty well.
Wow.
You know, I really believe it's going to, I mean, the people who don't know what's going on are always going to be super critical about how it's not working or how long it's going to take, but they don't realize what's all involved. So they're getting this done at a good rate. We're going to have these stores open early 2025.
Totally. Yeah. It's exciting to see. I'm ready for the next chapter of legalization to come about. That's for sure. All right. Well, so where does the bill go from here? Let's play the fun game of I'm just a bill. So it has passed the House. It still has to pass the Senate. We haven't seen the Senate version really move forward. It was sent to the Commerce Committee, which we could be seeing review that bill next week, but not a ton of movement. What is nice is because the House has passed the bill, we could see it sort of back-ended, where because the House has to send their bill over to the Senate for approval, it doesn't necessarily have to go through the entire Senate committee process. Now, many senators, I'm sure, will push for it too, so I'm sure we'll see that bill sort of delayed until it makes its way through that Commerce Committee, which it's likely going to be one of the last committees that the Senate has.
Yeah.
So hopefully within the next 2 weeks here, we'll have a better picture. But guys, it's April 19th right now, and you know we only have a couple more weeks of session, so very curious to see where this ends up moving forward.
Yeah, because they have to do the Senate floor vote and then conference committee
Yep.
and then votes again back in both chambers.
Yep. Which people probably remember from House File 100 can happen pretty quickly when they want it to,
Yeah.
but
and so also takes going to midnight sometimes.
yeah.
So
John, what have your hours been like covering it?
early and late, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's one of those things where it's his people. I say this about everything. Everything is public choice theory. It's just people making decisions at random times of the day. Doesn't need logic for things to like happen and move in either direction. And it's been a lot of changes unexpectedly at different times.
Cool.
which is always fun.
Right.
But I do think we'll have a solution. I do think like the bill will look better, and hopefully we'll be shockingly surprised.
Yeah.
by
Yeah,
what
so
it is.
more to
for
come.
showing up, John. John Barty III is one of our most valuable cannabis lobbyists.
don't know
I'm
about
so
that.
proud of you.
I don't know.
You would never say that. John is humble and John takes the
Well,
stairs.
we should talk about the amendment. I do take the stairs. I run
All right.
those fucking stairs. But we should talk about the amendment.
All right, so there were a number of different amendments approved. I'm gonna pull that up on the computer here. But John, I mean, talk about what it's like to be hearing the session moving forward. People talking about this bill that there's been months of work on. I mean, honestly, longer than that. And then to hear someone float a bill of, actually, I've got an idea. What if we raised the smoking age, or insert other ideas here?
It's super fun because it's like, yeah, man. What if we did that? Because you can tell how much they don't care in the end, and it's like, I'm saying this thing to jam up time and to just
It's a game.
talk.
I mean, they're
Yeah.
playing. They're playing. It's a game.
And and they don't expect a lot of the amendments to go through. Like, I guess that's the part that I'm just like, what? Like,
They're just taking shots at the net, but they don't think they're gonna score. They're
never. They're
They're not
any
even taking
expectation
shots at
to
the net.
score.
They're shooting it like it's a target in a firearm. Like, let's kill the bill. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Let's
Yeah.
kill it or ruin it.
But it's
All
I
bad
love-
ideas
I
on the
also
table.
love when people
Keep
get to
America
the right
stoned.
place in like the wrong way. Like, they'll have a bad idea. The Republicans do this all the time with weed. They'll have like this thing that on its face is a really bad idea. And they start articulating it, and you're like, okay, you can see how that could be helpful for people. And it's like, but you started from such a bad place about it
Oh yeah.
that it just, yeah.
So let's talk through some of them. So one measure that was proposed was prohibiting any flavored THC gummies. Basically, you can have gummies, but they don't want them to contain any flavor.
So
Have to
just
taste
sugar.
like water.
They have to taste like
Gelatin.
gummy. I don't. Yeah.
That's the thing, is just sugar at that point.
Yeah.
They're not even. It's
Wow.
like they're not really.
I'm trying to
thinking about
picture like what that picture that
Doesn't
taste
exist.
in your mouth.
It's like
Yeah.
a sugar cube.
That's like saying you can only have
Chew.
basic condoms. You can't have no riches or, different levels of sensitivity.
All right, so here's another one. Here's another one. Moving on from that. So this is the stuff that people get to see on the live stream, but we're gonna cut on Monday. No. I'm just kidding. All right, so there was another amendment that was proposed that would change the possession crime for a minor from a petty misdemeanor, which contains a fine and like a little bit of jail time, to a misdemeanor, which contains up to 90 days of jail and up to $1,000 fine. How do you guys feel about them wanting to send 18, 19, and 20-year-olds to prison
Yeah.
just for possessing cannabis?
How do people feel about college freshmen going to jail?
For possessing under 2 ounces of
weed
cannabis.
that is
I think
legal.
that
It's
each
like,
person who makes that proposal or each person whose job it is to like arrest people should sit in jail for 90 days and then think about how fair that
There we
is
go.
to lose your freedom over a healing plan.
I'd support that amendment.
Yeah, put these legislators in and
That's
we can
what
pay
we
them
need
too
Yeah.
to reduce their pain and suffering.
Oh, I have jury.
$20 a day to sit in the Ramsey or the wherever county you're from jail.
Absolutely.
Represent.
Wow. Keep
I have-
America stoned.
I have jury duty on May 20th.
Oh, I'm
First
so
time.
sorry.
First time.
Have fun.
Yeah. Oh.
where what jurisdiction? Not Manhattan, right?
Ramsey.
Ramsey County. Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking.
They call it the criminal legal system because it's unjust.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, and then let's talk about one other amendment that was proposed that I think we might be a little bit more split on. That was a Republican measure introduced, and it would allow cultivators, even non-social equity cultivators, to qualify for pre-approved licenses. So cultivators, whether you're social equity or just a standard cultivating business, you'd be able to go and start securing property, doing X, Y, and Z. That amendment, slap down.
I mean,
What do you guys think?
I'll say we can grow at home right now. Why not have a commercial grow?
What's the harm in that?
I mean, everybody's talking about what happens if we open up on day one and there's not enough supply. What if there's 400 stores, but there's not enough supply for like even a quarter of them? Like do they really want to set up the Minnesota market for failure by not allowing them to ramp up us to ramp
It just
up
leaves
supply?
so much gaps in the market for the underground and new brands to come in and just flood on the on the traditional or on the black market. So I don't like that. I like what Nolan West said today. I think Representative West was very passionate about his belief, and it would have helped. It would have helped a lot of our fellow hemp farmers.
Oh yeah.
I say the faster we can get like Minnesota plants in the ground, the better for the entire industry.
I mean, shout out to the legacy market though for holding it down until the stores are finally up and running.
Yeah, they got to make a choice.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
But I think we should give a shout out to Nolan West, which I think some people might hear and say, "You're shouting out a Republican." But I think this is one of the few Republicans in the House and
That's
the
because he
Senate.
smokes.
Well, it is because he smokes, but he's willing to say, how can we improve this program and come to it, I think, as a legitimate negotiator, saying, one of the measures that he introduced was trying to lower the social equity ownership requirement from 65 down to 51%. Basically saying you just have to be majority social equity.
I actually think that's a good idea because if you are a social equity applicant who doesn't have your own money, you might need to leverage it.
That's exactly what Nolan West was saying.
You literally only need 51% to be the shot caller.
Oh, yeah. No, I 100% agree. So I think shout out people that are coming to the table and saying, let's negotiate and let's figure out how we can make this work.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Well, I think we're going to take a short break here. For those in the live stream, feel free to chill on out. We'll just sort of hang out here and chat. And I think we should... Do we want to find someone to come and join us for a little bit?
Yeah, so Robert Kaiser.
Oh, sweet.
Earl Giles Restaurant and Distillery.
Well, so he's actively chatting with someone. So
Who else we got?
Well, we can also fill the time. I took a lot of improv classes as a kid. Oh, we've got a question on the chat.
Oh, coming from Terry.
Shout out Terry.
Hey, Terry.
And you guys kind of have touched on parts of it, and Tanner, mind repeating the question?
Yeah.
So, is it true Minnesota has changed its license application to a lottery system? If so, now I'm reconsidering my retail business plan. I have so much work to do to lay it out. All the work and hours I've been putting into a business plan based on pure luck.
Oh, yeah. So Terry asked a question a little bit looking at that lottery system. And it was a really great question. So I apologize that I'm doing like the hyphenated version. But in essence, have we switched to that lottery system? And if so, I really have to change my business plan. Let's sort of talk about that. Have we officially changed that yet?
No,
not
Terry,
yet.
no. But we did pass that change today in the House. Like we did switch out, or we did pass the proposal, the OCM proposal as is to do a lottery for social equity applicants and a provisional license, and then for everyone else. But it should be noted that with our population caps in the old bill, we would have ended if an area had a certain number of applications at the same time, they would have gone into a lottery.
Yeah, and I think that's like an important thing to note is, especially when people were really first looking at that bill being introduced like a couple months back, saying, hey, lottery, that's a major change. But it actually was included in House File 100. It was just when required. It first had a merit evaluation, and then it went to lottery.
So right now, it depends on how they want to give out these licenses.
Yeah.
Depends on how often we get lotteries in the old rules, and then the new rules, it's just like we're doing lotteries.
Yeah.
But
So-
do they have the number available for the number of license for each type?
They do, and I apologize that I don't have it pulled up in front of me right now. We'll pull that up before the show ends and let people know. But if you look at the amendment or the bill that's being moved through the House, it includes all those numbers directly in there.
Yeah.
I think
great
one of
question.
the micro licenses are going to offer the most opportunity. Now, isn't that going to be unlimited?
Uncapped micro licenses. So depending on how big your grow is, Terry, like you'd probably still snatch a micro license pretty easy, be fully vertical, and at least set your footprint in Minnesota. And you can always go and try to get a bigger license.
Wait, John,
Eventually.
we have someone new here.
Whoa.
I know. Steve looks a little bit different. Howdy, Kale.
Hey, what's up, guys? How we doing? We're
We're
talking
doing
micro
so
licenses,
great.
huh?
Yeah. We had a wonderful question from Terry. Shout out Terry in the chat who was asking about will that lottery system go through, what that looks like, and definitely a great question and more to come on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all the changes definitely keep people on their toes.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it's it's exciting times.
And it's part of being like a freshly legalized state. Like we're like 8 months into it right now. So, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
you know all
right.
the shit.
Well, yeah. So let's talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
who's this guy?
those who've watched Northern Lights before, they probably saw an interview where you and Will came on, talked a little bit about Dabbler Depot. But for people that are catching into live stream the first time, catching into the podcast for the first time, who are you?
I guess I would call myself the doer of things at Dabbler.
I love it.
Our job titles are kind of all just really there for, to have a subline on your email. But so I kind of got started at Dabbler Depot Coffee January of 2023, and kind of plugged away and was the 6:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. guy for almost a year. And then, we had some changes in leadership, and we wanted to just kind of manage it as a team. And so we kind of built a horizontal management structure, and boom, here we are, opening a new shop. So we as a team wanted to make a place where we could house cannabis podcasting. One, because
Thank you. by the way.
it's great.
shout
It's
out
great to
Dabbler
have it in the
Depot.
liquor store, right? But when someone's buying $100 bottle of wine, they don't want to see Sam Milstein like hitting dabs out the
yeah,
back. But you know
that's-
what?
that's fair.
That is so much. It was so much fun being out there with you guys during that. That was so cool, and we want to have more moments like that. And we really wanted to give our cannabis side of the business the respect it deserved. Because if you've been to our South Minneapolis location, very small, very tiny. It's kind of like a closet.
Shout out though. So so many products.
Dude, but we get a lot of walk-in traffic, and we have a little community in that neighborhood. And then 7th, we've got kids coming in for donuts and coffee, and we have the liquor store as well. And we've done a great job with the limited space we had there. And so we finally wanted to, take our events background, take our media background, and then take our new THC team and give it a home. And so that's what we're in right now. So kind of on that micro license thing, that's really kind of what we're looking to do here is be able to have a dispensary, have an on-premise consumption lounge, and also be able to do a small craft grow on site, right? And so that's kind of walked in at the right time.
Yeah,
but we've been
absolutely.
working for months and months and months to really outfit this space because these two buildings needed a lot of work. But it started off as just we wanted a small shop on that far wall in the other building, and we built it, and it was great. And
I
then
heard you might have saved some holes in the wall along the way.
Yeah, so we had joked that if we ever met the person next door, that we would explore maybe picking up this building as well. And within a couple weeks, we ran into some construction guys who were in here to do some flooring, and then it slowly evolved from we're just talking about it to hey, let's do a lease. But there's no way they would let us put a hole in the wall. And we're like, okay, not without signing a 10-year lease. It was like, oh, yeah, okay, 10 years is a long time. And so we took this old thrift shop and started taking some walls down and kind of shaping it. We extended this room that we're in right now a bit. Cool. And I didn't do any of this, by the way. This was all Jordan, Edward, Matt,
Shout out Jordan.
all of those guys came in here and they built this thing with their hands. They grinded this out. But after this was done, we went back to the owner and they're like, cool, let's do it. Let's open her up. And so we wanted to have a place where you can kind of be on both sides. There's retail over there. There's some grow space over here, but it's an event space. We can host events. We can host the Minnesota Cannabis College because personally, I'm kind of tired of driving to Minneapolis after I'm done at my shift. So if I can house you guys here, that'd be super sweet
That's
because
pretty gangster.
I like the last 30 minutes, but of everything that I can make it for. We shake a lot of hands, but I'd love to have you guys here in St. Paul because you got your spot in Minneapolis. And I wanted to have a grow supply for people because home growers weren't really something that we were working with. Like our market really wasn't that. And so, there's home growers that might not ever buy a THC drink or a low dose edible.
For sure.
but they would come in if we had the products that they wanted, and they could come and talk to somebody about their grow. They don't have to keep it quiet anymore, right? And then also being able to cater to the smokers too. So we've brought some more products in here that can cater to that smoking demographic as well. So now we're not just coffee and donuts, but we're cannabis, right? And yeah. So we wanted to give cannabis the respect it deserved, and the team pulled this thing off
So the
in
place
a
is
big
beautiful.
way.
Yeah.
It is so
I walked up and
beautiful.
saw the sign, and it's Dabbler Depot, and then the pot of Depot is a beautiful shade of blue, and I was like, oh, I'm home. I love this.
Yeah, so welcome to Seed and Sesh, guys. Thank you.
Seed and
thank you
Sesh.
guys for coming out here and kicking us off and
Thanks for having
being a
us.
part of it.
Yeah, this is so cool. I mean, we were walking around a little bit earlier, and I was like, wow, all right, I do need some grow equipment. Like, now I know I can come here for that. And like, oh, these cannabis beverages all over the place. Like, I'm excited to give these a try and to talk to these people. And you'll be hearing from some of them in a little bit. But, I mean, this place is so cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's unlike, honestly,
Thank you.
Congratulations. Well
the
done.
7th is unlike any other shop, and
Mm-hmm.
now this one is just like more unlike any
Yeah.
other shop.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
So
guys
you
have
can literally see that cannabis is in the fingerprints of this place.
Right.
Yeah,
And I love it.
it's really it's come a long way, and it's amazing what people can do in the last 48 hours. It is amazing. People under
Finishing
pressure.
touches.
But like we honestly it's a shout out to the team. It's a congratulations to them. Like there's members of our team that have to hold down the fort at 7th and hold down the fort at 28th. So like Liam, Will, shout out to you guys. Like,
Oh, yeah.
honestly, everybody kind of keeps this thing ticking, and the guys at the liquor store, like everybody holding it down. Jordan's been out here, and we haven't had a whole lot of like social media support, and because he's building this thing.
Oh,
It
It was so funny having
yeah.
him come into the studio and like covered in paint. And it's like, oh, I think I knew what you were doing.
Yeah, and it's
Painting very poorly.
It looked oddly like the shade of this wall. It's insane how that happened.
Lazy gray.
Lazy
gray.
gray. Wow.
We would lazy gray the walls. Yeah, we had a lazy gray a wall yesterday.
We have a follow-up question from Terry.
Oh, yeah, Terry.
Okay. That makes perfect sense. How or where do I find the pre-qualification app you mentioned at the beginning of this cast?
Such a great question. So they don't yet have that application put out yet. So the goal is that if this bill passes, the OCM sort of has their instructions to go and develop that. We'd see it no later than November, but likely we'd be seeing that sometime this summer.
Yeah, it's probably going to be late July or August.
But the where is going to be cannabis.mn.gov.
If Terry qualifies as like a social equity applicant,
Yeah.
they can, the thing that passed today, you should be able to apply in June or July. They'll have the licenses open for social equity applicants to get a provisional, like pre-approved
sure.
license.
Yeah.
So that means you'll have you won't have a full license, but you'll have a piece of paper essentially saying that like,
Exactly.
this person will have a license once rules are up.
Yeah, don't fuck up and you have a license.
Yeah.
It's valuable because it
It's
allows
like
people
it's
to raise
it's a
money.
weird
and,
thing.
Like
We got
secure
going
commercial
on.
space.
Oh, yeah. Well, Kayla, I mean, is there a beverage you've tried or something that seeds you've bought or grow equipment that you would recommend someone definitely come in and check out if they come in this weekend?
So first, that was Edward. He also built this place. If you could see
there we
him in
go.
the window,
Oh, yeah.
that was Edward.
Oh, hey, there
Robert.
we go.
Robert, yeah.
All right.
People in the room.
But first, a break from
That's
Earl
gonna be one of
Giles.
Oh, yeah.
Little drink break.
Here, we can do
Yeah,
some
what is this?
swapping out here. I'll give you a mic command spot.
Pifton by Earl Giles.
Come on over. You
Yeah, yeah, I will.
swap out.
I will jump in. Well, thank you for letting me hop
welcome.
in. Oh, thank
Robert, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh.
Good to see you again.
Thank you. So this is Pifton by Earl Giles, a cannabis cocktail kind of focusing on the terpene profiles of individual strains and kind of trying to celebrate where those terpenes are found in other organic materials. So this one is sour tangy. That strain is elevated in a little bit of myrcene. And so we paired a bitter orange syrup, tangerine, and orange blossom water with it.
I needed some orange blossom today. How'd you know?
Just lightens it up a little bit. Lightens it up.
Wow, this is smooth and delicious.
Well, Robert, who the hell are you for those who don't know.
Oh, I've been. I'm Robert. I am the cannabis face of Earl Giles. Came in with Pifton a couple years ago and built it with the lovely gentleman of Earl Giles. Help kind of represent all things cannabis that they do in the building, and then help kind of build the community within the space. Just as far as my cannabis involvement, been on and off involved in cannabis my whole life in Minnesota. Kind of worked at Homegrown Glass in kind of early 2000s. Was kind of like my big exposure where I actually like had met a lot of the people that are currently a little about my age or a little older in this space, kind of keeping it going. And so it's really been fun to kind of see the whole thing come full circle, and now to be here for legalization and people enjoying the product.
I love that, because going from like a glass shop where it's like, yeah, we sell this equipment for
Tobacco.
Yeah, exactly.
If you say the B word, I can't sell this to you. Like, yeah, it was very, very weird. You know, just kind of had to kind of keep hush hush on everything. And then I remember a couple years ago, and like walking into a grow shop, and I heard someone talk about. Sorry, guys, I was running around the whole inside, so if I'm sweating and.
I mean, we're supposed to sweat and breathe hard every day.
Yeah. But I walked into Greener Gardens in Richfield, and someone was talking about cannabis, and it was just like, it just perked my ears. I'm like, how did you say that word in this store? And they were like, it's hemp. It is hemp. And so, you know, just in that, and, you know, just kind of started getting my feet wet in the industry again. So.
Hell yeah. And you guys have been doing something super cool all year this year.
Oh yeah. So in December, and then finally kind of made it official, or a Wednesday official in the building. Every Wednesday from 5 to 9, we're doing Canna Club. So it's a cannabis-focused happy hour featuring other brands. This coming Wednesday, I believe we have Milkweed Coffee Shop and Mellow featuring some of their products. So really just trying to open it up to everyone and let them be a part of it.
Yeah. I've been to a handful so far, and they've been super fun. It really is just a cannabis happy hour. It feels like, I mean, Kel, you've been to a bunch of them. It feels like after an event, and it's like everyone went to the bar.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Then it's weed drinks.
Yeah. Well, and it's super funny. So, I was trying to lock down, our Minnesota breeders to come in and do classes to help us with our open and kind of launch this new concept. And Clem and I had talked briefly when he was in doing the Cooking with Clem stuff at 7th Street, and he was like, yeah, I could maybe induce my plants. I got a couple girls that are ready, and I could have them ready so that we could do a feminized seed class on Sunday. And I was like, holy shit, cool. That'd be awesome. That'd be super cool. And then I get a message from him a couple weeks later, and he's like, can we take a rain check? I don't have any girls that are ready. And I was like, well, hold on. I actually have a clone that I got at Earl Giles that's rooted and in a solo cup, but I couldn't keep it under light long enough, so it started to flower on me. And now the rest of my tent is flowering, so I've just left it flowering. And I took a picture of it and sent it to him, and he's like, that'll do.
Yeah.
So that is my extended plug for the feminized seed class from home with Clem on Sunday.
And it shows you the kind of adventures you can get in at Earl Giles.
Yeah, it's really been really cool to just kind of create a space for people and to just kind of stay out of their way and let the cannabis community really build it. Like, I mean, obviously Yoni and I have really helped kind of invite our friends, invite our community, but like you guys showing up to it, like, and the three of you, I mean, you've all been there, and like everyone coming there and supporting this is just that's where like the true magic has been, because it's like you can't do stuff like every week and like get people showing up like this. Like it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's you watching the community come in and support this is just been. Yeah, I could cry. It's good, man. It's really, really cool.
Yeah,
So,
you must be so proud and so grateful to host such a special event,
It's,
a weekly event, and it's a beautiful venue.
Well, it's just weird. Like, you don't, I think, as we're all kind of venturing into this space, there's a little bit of vulnerability and kind of creating something or kind of, trying to kind of show something that you've made or worked hard on, whether that's a plant or a beverage or anything. And to have people take it so well and to share it and then also want to be a part of the environment and everything else, it's just, Yeah, it makes me a mushy mess. Some Thursday mornings I kind of wake up after the Wednesday, and it's a lot of happy tears. Yeah. So it's been really, really fun to do this and to do this in Earl Giles space, and to just have everyone's support. It's been really beautiful. So.
The best tears are happy tears.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so proud
Absolutely.
of you.
Yeah,
Thank
proud
you.
of you, man.
Yeah, it's
Thank
been
you
awesome
so much.
watching you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll say
Yeah.
it's
You create space so people can hold space in the name of the culture. You
Yeah.
know? It's
Yeah.
a networking hub.
But that culture, I mean,
safe
that was
space.
like between Homegrown Glass and Mind State, and just like my whole life, like that culture was kind of my home. Like I didn't, you know, I was always out the door, like woke up and just got out the house. And it was, I mean, all of those environments were my home, and people that looked out for me growing up, and ways that I was able to pay my bills, and to now be able to do that legally.
That part.
this out. That's I think the really. It's like everyone's been in it so long, but at the same time we're at the beginning.
Yep.
Like we get to do this out in the open in the light now. It's like, man, who knows what this is gonna look like 5-10
No,
years.
it's
down the road.
it's a crazy beautiful thing.
I mean,
but,
imagine how people can thrive when they're free.
right? Yeah. Yeah.
And we already see it. It's like we're not even at full legalization here in the state of Minnesota. That's the wild part.
No, I mean this is
English.
what we've created in the gray space, and
Yeah.
it's just like, you know, it's like imagine like fully get us into the light, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Shout out to the darkness.
How's
though.
it been watching the drinks take off? Like,
Oh, it's
just like
like
the
I
whole
said, happy
market.
tears.
Yeah.
It has been, you know, originally when I wanted to start this, it was. It kind of quickly kind of overcasted kind of starting this in my basement. I knew like I had a light culinary arts background, and so like I knew that I wanted to kind of meet with people and meet with appropriate folks that kind of understood this, and kept hearing a name kind of brought up to me. It was Earl Giles and Nick Kosovich, and next thing you know, we're sitting at the table, and I had brought in. It was just kind of, I made a jump for it. I brought in all my rosin, I brought in all my terps, I brought in everything, and was like, this is the representation that I want in my drink. I want it to taste like cannabis. And, you know, after a couple meetings.
You're like, we'll accept this into the
Yeah.
apothecary.
It's like, well, is this okay? And it was totally accepted in that environment.
How long
And,
did it take A to Z in the apothecary?
Oh, I mean, I think we probably had like 6 to 8 sessions of kind of like, because these got a little more adventurous. I would say like some people in like a traditional beverage, like we could get you out the door in a couple sittings or a couple tweaks on a beverage. But for this, it was a couple sittings and definitely like a lot of good conversation around this. And then I would say like 6 to 8 sessions. They were all 4 were done, so there is a 4th that's coming out. It's Snowman. They were all done in November of 2022. So they've been done for a minute and finally kind of playing catch up and getting them out. 22, yeah.
Because you ran the gamut. You went through the full exploration in those sessions.
Yeah. Yep.
You were able to blend hospitality and cannabis in a way with this. And like there's a big difference right now in well-crafted cannabis beverages and thrown together cannabis beverages.
Yeah. Yeah. You can taste it. And I think people are starting to taste it as well, and it's been really fun to kind of see that representation come back to us. But yeah.
We got Gus Dean joining us.
This
I was gonna
is
say, you got-
sophisticated and accessible.
Well, thank you,
Delicious.
guys. Well, thank you for letting me jump in, all sweaty and running around. Guys, come down to Dabbler Depot. It is
Thanks for all your
fantastic
good
here
work.
today and tomorrow.
Shout out.
And Sunday. And Sunday.
Keep the party going all weekend at the Dabbler Depot.
Where's John at? Is John out of the building or Tanner?
Yeah. All right. We'll take a quick break. Hey, Tanner.
Hey, Steve, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
So I was thinking about planning for our next event, and I just, we've had a lot of miscommunication. I want to make sure we're on the same page. We're planning a bubble bath event.
Not a bubble bath event, a bubble hash event.
Steve, that makes so much more sense.
My brain went to bubble bath.
It's relatively new.
Okay.
Like I think last 20 years, people have been doing more bubble hash. It's a really
Wait. Save it for the class.
Okay.
So I can get my ticket today at mncannabiscollege.org/hash.
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay, all right, yeah. That's what it says in the flyer.
Hash,
All right,
hash.
/hash.
And it's not bath. I mean, there is a shower at the Wilderness, but we're not going to use it.
Oh, all right. All right, well, we're live here at the Dabbler Depot studio. Gus, super happy to have you in. I mean, you've actually been on Northern Lights twice before. Not you personally, but your beverages. Back in the audio podcast days, we tried the blueberry. We just tried the caramel one just like a couple weeks back. But, I mean, for people that maybe haven't tried your beverage before, haven't heard of you before, tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got in the coffee business.
Yes. So my name is Gus, the owner of Gustine Coffee. I've been a roaster in the Twin Cities for about 4.5 years. This past October, we decided to launch our first cold brew. It's a cannabis-infused cold brew called Blueberry Kush. It's a nod to the old school Cheech and Chong days. It's a fun name. It's got a blueberry cinnamon flavor. And then about 2 weeks ago, we launched Royal Caramel, which is also named after a very well-known strain of cannabis. The thing that makes my product different, it's a true cold brew in that the beans are steeped in cold water for 24 hours, so we're able to extract all the coffee goodness and leave behind a lot of that bitter taste that a lot of people don't like about coffee. And so we get a full coffee taste in a smooth and delicious beverage with 10 milligrams of THC, 10 milligrams of CBD,
Nice.
and the same amount of caffeine that you get in a cup of coffee. And so
I love that.
you're in that safe zone, and I call it a functional beverage.
Hey, Gus, have you ever considered putting 100 milligrams of CBD in your beverage?
I would do that because I tell you what, the thing is when we first got started, a lot of people were like, I just want the THC. And the thing is that the more and more I talk to people, I find that people are appreciating more the benefits of CBD, the different strains of, or the different types of CBD there. And I do believe that the CBD gives you a sense of well-being and connectedness that I think people are starting to really appreciate. And it's a more nuanced high or a sense of well-being and connectedness.
Amazing.
And I've heard that, like, to really get effective doses of CBD, it has to be like in the hundreds of like milligrams of CBD, because people don't. I mean, it's not the intoxicating part.
No.
You know what I mean? So.
No. Yeah, to get that therapeutic effect, especially for people that may have arthritis or other joint problems, or even for some people, they're looking for something that they may, something that helps to settle the mind and make them a lot more comfortable, especially in a social setting. So definitely that higher level. So this is just more of this is a much lower level, but I think it works well in combination with the 10 milligrams of THC.
I mean, your product was one of the most popular, I think, among us reviewers. So it's a smashing hit.
Staples SC2 says Gustine has the best canna drink in the state.
Thank you. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Hey, Gustine.
Absolutely agree. Best cannabis beverage in the state for sure. Like, what I really love about this is it's one of those that, like you said, it's functional. I can wake up, I can drink one of these in the morning. I can sort of feel a little bit of that THC help me through maybe my creative process or whatever I'm doing. But also, it has that caffeine. I don't have to, do a shot of espresso and then drink my whatever beverage. I can enjoy it all together.
There you go. And the thing that I like to think about with this beverages is that when you drink it, you're not going to just feel alone. Sometimes when you get high, you're alone in your own world. And the thing that I like about this is having that CBD in there and having that caffeine. The caffeine helps to blunt that crash that a lot of people may experience when they come down. But you're still engaged, and you're able to do all the things that you want to do, whether it's play a video game or hang out with friends and talk to people. So you're able to be a part of something bigger. And I like to think you're being your best self, right? You're happy, you feel comfortable, you know?
Yeah.
Doing all the things that matter.
I want to be my best self.
There we go.
You are your best self.
Ah,
Well,
thanks,
that's what
man.
it's
Thanks,
about,
man.
right? You're going to be real. You want to be authentic, you know, and you want to feel comfortable. I think the biggest thing that people are finding with cannabis beverages is that you have something to hold on to. And but it's also, I call a social lubricant in that sometimes we don't feel as comfortable at ourselves. Sometimes we don't feel, all confident and stuff. And having a beverage like this, it gives you that confidence. You have something to hold on to. Now you have a community of people that enjoy cannabis. And so now you're a part of something and you're feeling good about yourself. I mean,
I love it.
Yeah.
So you know a decent amount about coffee. I've got a question for
what's
you.
that?
What are your opinions on the whole pumpkin spice craze? Are we going to see a pumpkin spice gusting in some? No. All right.
Let me tell you, pumpkin spice was all the rage about 5 to 7 years ago.
Okay.
Now it has become a divisive flavor.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, you either love it or you despise it. And I would say today, 70% of the people despise pumpkin spice. And it is something that I will get people starting in late August that'll ask for it. But that may be like 10 people, and they love it, and they'll buy like 5 pounds of it, and then like everybody else is like, nah.
So you're actually offending 70% of your customers who see it on your menu.
I know, but I'm telling you.
If a coffee shop has spiced pumpkin
spice, it's like people love it. Some people. Yeah. And everybody else you get a visceral reaction to it.
I believe it.
And I believe what's happened is like it was like really cool, and then like companies started putting it in everything.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it
played it out.
And I think it's just gotten to a point where it's played out.
Yeah.
PSL down.
Man.
It makes me think of junk mail. That's played out.
Yeah, I used to get a magazine or get a catalog, and it's like, and now it's like, But honestly, the pumpkin spice, of all the coffees that are out there, you get like strong reactions.
God, yeah.
Well, so we tried the blueberry one way long time ago before we were a video podcast.
Yes.
And I feel like we sort of got to give it the justice of showing people the beverage, not just saying, wow, the color on that looks really great, but actually showing off. Do you mind? Can we crack one of those open and do a tasting here?
On the mic. So they can
right
hear
in front of the microphone.
Right. Okay.
Marcus, grab the other one. There you go. That royal caramel.
So good.
There we go. So let's pour out some samples.
Oh, yes. We got some cups here.
So we got some cups.
Gus Dean.
Yes.
Gus Dean, you're already
that color.
iconic in
There you
Minnesota
go.
cannabis.
There you go.
Gus Dean.
Yeah.
In the building.
Yeah, in the building right here, keeping it
The
real.
iconic face. We get to see you,
All right.
the real man.
So we got a clean, simple 12-inch ounce can. Got my mug on there so everybody knows who I am.
Gus
$1 million
Dean.
smile.
There you go. And the thing that I want to tell people about this beverage in terms of the way it tastes is that it reminds me of it reminds me of a blueberry muffin, but there's no sugar added. And then there's a subtle hint of cinnamon on the back of your tongue and then it brings it all together, and there's just a nuance about the beverage.
Wow.
Easy like Sunday morning.
There you go, easy.
This is, I think the comment that we made before is there's a lot of products that taste like, all right, this is a cannabis product they tried to get coffee into.
Right.
This is it's really good coffee.
Right.
And it happens to have THC in it,
And it
too.
just happens to have
This
THC.
is really good.
Only a roaster could produce this.
There you go. And that's the thing is that when I got into this, I didn't want to come masquerading as a cannabis guy. My thing is I'm a coffee roaster. I know coffee. And the thing was that I just didn't want to mess up the coffee, but I wanted to get a great infused product. So we really focused on getting a great taste that's smooth and delicious, and then we added the cannabis. and only the best cannabis we added in there. And I think we've got a drink that's pleasing.
Well, having sampled it and going to basically every store, the Dabbler Depot included, being able to find this, you can say you're a cannabis guy. You are part of the Minnesota cannabis industry.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And coming from you, it makes me feel whole and at home. And I'm so happy to be invited here. I mean, this is something I've been looking forward to do. I'm everywhere I see you. I keep like, hey, Dad, get me on.
And I'm super excited that we were able to get you in today. I do want to have you back at some point to do more of like a long form, like tell us a little bit more about like how you discovered getting into coffee. Like, what does that mean? But man, like,
can I ask one question though before you go?
What's that?
Like, at what point did you envision the infused coffee? Like, when did it happen? And then when did you actually like make it happen?
Like most good things, there was no stroke of genius, okay? So let me tell you the honest truth. I'm sitting with some friends, we're drinking cold brew, and we're talking, and somebody said to me, how come you don't have a cannabis-infused cold brew? Mm-hmm. And I was like, would somebody want that? Like, would that be cool? And they were like, yes. Like, yes, like that is the huge thing. Like people, cannabis and coffee go well together.
Right.
And it just, I was clueless. And like now we're working in this, and this is my focus, and this is a passion, and this is something that, the good thing about this is I get to enjoy it with people and talk about it. And there's such a community around cannabis that I just, oh man, this is good.
Were you a consumer before that happened?
Yes, but like I said, I just didn't, in my mind, it just didn't put everything together.
But you were the man to make it happen, and two heads are better than one. So shout out to the person who asked the right question.
There you go. There you go. Because it was just
legendary.
Sometimes you think about things and you compartmentalize in your brain. And then I hadn't thought about it. And then I got to thinking, I got to talking to more people, just like, oh man, this is such a huge thing. And so we went back, did a lot of research, did a lot of formulation, testing, and I think we came up with something that people can enjoy.
I know you did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We've all had it in our refrigerators at home.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I was going to say, you came into Uniflora Holistics maybe now like a year ago with some of this. And Mason was like, hey, guys, you should try this, and put it in the staff fridge.
Yes.
And the next day I came to come and get a can, they were all gone. And
Thank
I
you.
can see why.
Thank you.
Cannabis beverages go so fast in shared refrigerators. They are the most popular beverage out of the wilderness every time.
Who drank my Gustine cold brew?
There you go.
They go way faster than alcohol.
But I am telling you, if you're at work, well, I'm not going to endorse and having a cannabis product at work, but the one thing that I can say is that it blunts the rough edges. It takes the stress away. And the thing is sometimes when we're at work, we get those people that kind of get on our nerves. Mm-hmm. You know, you just kind of like, it's not going to bother me today. All is well, right?
Yeah.
Dysfunctional as it gets.
Dysfunctional. You're still able to get all the things done you want to do.
High functioning.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. And if you're tuning in live, thank you for still tuning in. We appreciate it. Happy 4/19. It's Bicycle Day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Bicycle
it is.
Day. I love that.
Yeah. Have you heard of it?
No, I have not.
Oh, well, I love history, so I'll tell you very briefly. LSD, another drug, not cannabis, but that definitely sort of deserves some criminal reform, was chemically created in a lab. And today, April 19th, is the first time that the chemist that made it, Albert Hoffman, accidentally consumed some of it, took a bicycle ride home, and the rest, they say, is history.
Rest is history.
Yeah, but so April 19th, a day dedicated to, yes, celebrating that Cannabis Day is tomorrow, but also the saying, you know, drug reform doesn't just end with cannabis. It's a much bigger picture, and celebrating the fun culture as well.
I think I might do some LSD next year on April 19th and go for a long bike ride.
You know,
with some people who keep me safe.
There you go. But you know what's good about what you said? Those are both two products that have been stigmatized.
Oh, yeah.
And now that we revisit those products, we're seeing that they have health benefits, and they're medicine. They're things that help to make us healthier and better, and I like that. So, you know, what can be better? 2 days, two great products. I mean,
absolutely. Yeah. No, I think it's cool being able to look at sort of how we can use some of the things in our world to help us achieve wellness,
Right,
whatever that looks like.
I mean, the state of Minnesota has a psychedelic medicine task force that's including LSD under consideration for legalizing it for medical purposes. So they'll probably have a bill in 2025 to legalize LSD.
Yeah.
And psilocybin.
We've got a
and,
pretty big
MDMA.
decade ahead of us in
Just,
terms of drug
no,
reform.
yeah,
It's-
no.
Shout out to
We're on the
MDMA.
precipice.
That's another great drug.
All right, well, that seems like a good note to take a break on. So we're going to take a short break. Those in the live stream, feel free to stick around, and we'll be back here in just a couple minutes.
Woo! Thanks to the Dabbler Depot.
Dabbler Depot.
Guys,
Oh, yeah.
man,
Thank you so much. Oh, absolutely.
Oh my God.
Thanks to the Dabbler Depot.
Oh man, this makes it so easy, man.
Yes, there you are.
Thank you.
We're live at the Dabbler Depot. Gus Dean and Marcus Harkis.
Thank you, man. I love it.
That was great.
Well, welcome. So, for those joining us on the podcast on Monday, we're back here live at the Dabbler Depot. Seed and Sesh, super happy to be here. But welcome.
new.
Welcome to the Northern Lights
Thank you,
podcast.
thank you.
So,
No.
introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are, and then what your made-up title is at the Dabbler Depot.
For sure. My name is Edward, and I'm part of the Dabbler Depot team now for just about a year. And I kind of grew up in the area here, not necessarily on the east side, but more on the west side. My family's from over here on the east side, though. Like my dad went to Johnson, my uncles live over here, all that kind of thing. So every day that I come here is like a kind of like going home, you know. So I think about that.
Hell
all the
yeah.
time. Very big on the neighborhood aspect of things.
Love it.
And so that's kind of like what got me started at Dabbler Depot, you know, over on 7th Street once they remodeled Stransky's. And the way that looked, that's why I wandered in there one day. And, you know, the vibe was cool. Everything was, you know, like super fresh, super friendly, and very helpful. I bought some balanced sleep gummies. And, you know, since then, I was like, man, they know what they're talking about. So
Classics.
I was happy, and I went back, and like that week I found it online, a job offer, and yeah, man. Now a year later, it's been a crazy trip.
Holy cow.
That's a great story.
Yeah. I mean, thinking about where our industry was and where Dabbler Depot was like a year ago, that's like pre-Legacy Cup when Dabbler Depot got like Dispensary of the Year award. It's pre sort of it opening up where liquor stores can really widely sell THC products. Like Dabbler Depot was
It was
sort of a little
both.
place
It
that-
was illegal, legal, and then legal again. Yeah. It was both. Dabbler Depot in 1 year. Oh my gosh. So what is your title, Edward?
Yeah. So my job title is actually the Wow King. So,
And that's why I love the Dabbler Depot. I mean, like,
no, I mean that's why I'm still here. So.
What's the wow?
So WOW is actually an acronym, Weed on Wheels. So that is our mobile, you know, beverage unit in a sense. So like we've been to you know, Cannabis Cup last year at Legacy. You know, we were a big part of that. We were happy to be there. But it's a mobile unit that Matt built, you know, with his probably just imagination in his hands. But it's, you know, like we were talking about, or you mentioned like last year where we were at, you know, it was like, oh, where can we go? And where do we find the information of who knows where we can go? And anyone you would ask was like, oh, maybe not really, you know, probably not. And so you just start going places and, you know, you start finding people that are interested in the same things. And it's like, that's why like the last few months that I've been working here, like we listen to your guys' podcasts all the time because it's informational and it's very relevant to what we're doing. And you guys, the community aspect that you present and the solid, balanced information has been vital to us, and super happy to have you guys here.
wow, thanks, man. Well,
And that's love.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
this is
so
a real
appreciate
community business, and we're all about the community, the grassroots cannabis community. So this is just such a wonderful partnership. It's a blessing to meet you.
yeah.
No, dude, I'm so glad. You know, it's been 6 months in the making, and never from the beginning did I expect it to look like this. And you know, it's nowhere. We're just getting started. You know, so
This is the wildest concept I've been in Minnesota.
Oh, yeah. That's
sure.
absolutely
Seed and Sesh. That's a nice name.
It's awesome, yeah. And growing plants, growing community. You know, it's like you think about those two things, and if you can even, you know, you teach people how to grow and they can cook good food for themselves. You know, it's like not only that aspect of the plant, but all the medicinal things that we can do with it. So it's as you can tell, I'm a little overwhelmed at times here, but it's like just in my voice, I can feel it. You know, it's just so much potential, and we just need people to know that we're here. You know, like come on down, we're open, and you know.
Well, and I feel like everything you guys do, like, wow, is such a good description, because I remember like walking in the shop the first time, and it's like, wow, like look around at all the plants. And like I remember coming to the October Halloween event, and it's like, oh my God, like wow, like look, you guys had like a mobile vehicle.
We need a wow
that's
ticker.
selling.
Do you remember that
Walk in here, same thing.
He had that big
Wow.
THC sign that he had carved by like a world champion ice sculptor. It's like, dude, and like, he's like, can you help me paint that? I'm like, yeah. I was like, I want to meet the guy that carved this thing, dude. It's nuts.
I want to meet the guy who made the sprinkles on the donut.
Yeah, that too.
Hey, I got a question. So when you walked through the door a year ago, did you anticipate helping to build one of the best like cannabis retail stores in the state of Minnesota?
Was that part of the job?
Did you know that
You know
was gonna
what?
come?
Actually, the thing that drew me here was the forward momentum at the time, because I had been in an industry of retail for like 12 years, you know, and like I made a choice to walk away, take a chance on something, and it was like I took a chance on a vibe, and you know, our plan then was just like opening low dose shops, and we were doing this and we're doing that, and it was just like we had momentum. And then you know, the season changes sometimes, and it's like some things don't always work out, but it's really hard being in an industry that's unfolding each and every day, so you don't know which way to go all the time, but it's like you just keep going. That's the key.
Follow the northern lights.
It's like I could have never expected something so integrated, having people like you guys here, you know, like all the community involvement, everybody on the team, how important that is. And not just in our own Dabbler Depot team, you know, like everybody connected to us. So I'm super jacked to be part of that.
Man, I love the spirit I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and likewise, like we're just so excited to be here and be sharing in the community. Like even the can you're holding, it's like a perfect example of community. Like shout out Modest, the Four
right?
Canna, shout out Canna Connect. Like truly, it's just like I've been loving seeing the connections within our industry, the way that people work together. And I mean, thanks for having us here.
I appreciate it, man.
I mean, we honestly are building so much community. It's like staggering, you know.
This is the starting five. You know, here we are.
You know, I mean, this proves that the Minnesota cannabis industry is more cooperative than competitive. Of course, we're all going to be trying to win, you know, in our own businesses or organizations, but like we're collaborating so much. It's just amazing. I feel like the cannabis industry may be the most collaborative industry in Minnesota at this point. I mean, we're emerging in this legal market, but like there's so much collaboration. It's just one.
It is insane.
Dude, your creativity is the limit. You know, how
That
much
part,
can you
right.
imagine? Like, what Matt told me that like kind of shifted things for me. I'm like, what do you want me to do all the time? Like, what do I do next? He's like, I want you to dream big.
Yeah.
And I was like, it like hit me. Like, I was like, I hadn't dreamt in a long time. Not like that.
Hey.
I was like, what can we be? And I was like, shit, when you realize there's no limit on that, yeah, that's why we're all here.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And
that
it's such a
manifestation is
blend.
made of.
It's such a blend. You're like, okay, culturally, what can I work with? And then on the wall, you've got what you're looking at next.
Right.
Coffee, donuts. I mean, you already got me right there.
So it's all the things that are good, you know? So it's like, where else would you rather be? I'm like, man, and when I go home, so I'm like, wow, I wish I had those donuts, you know, or a cup of coffee like that. It's just, it's awesome. And it's like, it's only awesome if we have everybody be a part of it, you know, because that's just better when we're all together.
You know, our guests say that, and I appreciate your sentiment, but our guests say that they really like the staff, the retail staff that work at Dabbler Depot THC.
For sure.
It makes a difference when you're helping curate the product for the consumer. And I know you've had to change with how you showcase product and things like that, but
For sure.
you can get a really customized assessment of what you need from the Dabbler Depot. staff. I like that about them.
I mean, we really take our time, you know. We're trying to understand what it is that you're looking for. What is the experience you want to have, you know? And then we can break things down from there, because for some people, a 5 milligram THC might just be the thing that they need, but some other people will benefit. Like the 4 different cannabinoids. You start talking cannabinoid profiles, now you're starting talking medicine, and you're talking things that are good for people on a therapeutic level.
Terpenes.
Let alone, exactly. There's so much in there. And it's like, we keep saying it, we're just on the cusp of what is coming around the corner. And like being educational in a informative way, but like to be approachable. Like I had so many questions a year ago that I have answers for because of the people in the store, you know, like they didn't teach me everything, but it was like they led me to the path and find out more. And you just start to surround yourself with more people like y'all that are, you know, out here talking about the information, giving people the chance to make informed decisions and then be part of something big. So it's like it's an awesome thing to be a part of.
Yeah, this is a brave new frontier, and man, am I happy to be here for it.
Thank you for such a beautiful testimony, and thank you for all your hard work.
Yeah, dude.
You're touching thousands of lives.
Passion, dude. Passion always wins, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like whatever you're doing, put everything into it, it's worth it.
Should we shout out the staff that are working at the other shops right now? Because, I mean, this is a super fun
They're
time.
probably watching it.
Yeah, yes.
I wanted to say what's up to Liam.
Shout out
What
to
up to
Liam.
Liam?
Oh, yeah.
Like they're
Go
watching and they're loving it and they're cheering for it they're like, you must be so proud. And I'm like, dude, I am. But the first thing I recognized when I was here, it took everybody else being over there doing the stuff that they're doing in order for just 2 people to be in here doing stuff. And it's like
Holding the ship. Yeah.
You know,
Shout out to Sam. He did a great job on Monday night. That was a crazy bar experience that was put together with Oliphant and
So cool.
Dabbler Depot.
Mm-hmm.
Alex was slinging samples. It was amazing.
Yeah. And they're all awesome members of the team, former members of the team. And in my eyes, they'll always be members of the team. So, you know, we're all on that team, going the same place.
Teamwork makes the dream work, for real.
Yeah, buddy. So, awesome, man.
Edward, thank you so much for coming on the show and
So glad
hanging
you're
out.
here.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
Thanks
respect.
so much for coming. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
All right, well, I think we're going to take a short break. For those in the live stream,
Smoke
feel free
break.
to stick around. Maybe we'll... are people going to take a quick smoke break?
Ganja.
30.
Cool, yeah, so we'll keep the live stream running. You can see we've got a party going on down here at the Dabbler Depot at their new Payne location.
951.
Come on down.
Yeah.
951 Payne. Truly, I mean, a great time here. We got samples going on. There's a bunch going on this weekend, we also should say.
How late are you open this weekend?
8 p.m. tonight, and I think 9 p.m. tomorrow. 2 to 6.
Okay.
6 and 6. Pretty sweet.
But
man.
tonight, open till... All right, well, come on down to the Dabbler Depot, Payne Avenue.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's
Seed
see.
and Sesh. My bad. Seed and Sesh.
Seed and Sesh. So we're going to do some swapping out here of some friends. So let's see. John, are you coming back on, or... You're leaving. You're leaving. That's totally cool. That's super cool. Well, everyone, John, do you want to come on and just say goodbye to say goodbye to our live stream? Shout out to John.
I got a Ganja Skoden.
Hey, we've tried that one on the show.
Yeah, sparkling lime margarita. You guys remember these guys? Beautiful logo.
Super
I'm
good.
gonna peace out. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
All
Thank you,
who,
John.
Watched then and now. and
John, can I ask
always.
you one quick question? When we first met
Are
each
these
other,
still frozen?
yeah,
Oh,
they
sorta.
stay frozen for a long time. They're fancy potatoes. When we first met, we were involved with the campaign for full legalization. So going back to like 2018. Now, I think some people get involved in activism when they're like 25 or like when they're like 30 or when they're like 40 or Tell it, how old were you when you got involved with cannabis activism?
I was a stone 19-year-old.
Incredible. I met John, and he was slinging knowledge better than some people who were twice his age. And shout out John. Thanks for coming on.
Hey,
We'll let you go
Skoden.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, Skoden. You guys have a good one.
Shout out to Coden.
Tanner, John tried to run for a school board when he was 20 years old, and He would have won, but he was too young to be elected.
Well, John, if you run again, I'm going to support your campaign. You got at least one supporter. All right, well, let's see. We're going to take a short break here, and then we're going to get some other people to come on in. All right. Well, and we're back, guys. For those tuning into the live stream, we are here live at the Dabbler Depot Seed and Sesh, their new location, 915 Payne Avenue. 951, excuse me. I'm going to get that down. It's day one, I apologize. 951 Payne Avenue. Come on down. It is such a party here, guys.
Before we jump in, Staples SC2 is wondering what we are smoking.
Such a great question. So someone asked what we are smoking. If you're asking the device, we've got the Puffco Peak Pro here. Now, this is a vaporizer. Actually, if you want to learn a little bit more about this, check out our 420 episode that's coming out tomorrow. But very briefly, in essence, what it is you put the cannabis oil or the rosin into this ceramic dish. It then heats it to about 450 degrees. And you're then able to inhale. What we were dabbing was some sour fruit rosin. So
Can we demo?
Can we demo it? I don't know. No, we're not allowed to demo it in here, but we would happily demo it outside. But that's the nice part about, if you check out our 420 special, we did a little video outside right behind the Dabbler Depot, so then you're able to see a little bit more about how that works. But also, if you Google Puffco Peak Pro, I mean, it's a very widely used device. You can check that out. But if you were asking what, like, concentrate-wise we were smoking on, that's what we were doing that. So.
You could do some manifestation with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely, you could. Well, so what I love is some of these are the parts that we end up cutting from the raw cut or from the actual final cut of the podcast. But we're live, so you're all getting this.
Your YouTube account.
I know, this is great. This is great. Oh,
We can't afford to not record.
Can't afford to not record. And we got John coming back in the studio.
John Barton is back in the building.
Alrighty. John, are you going to be here for like 5-10 minutes?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. All right. Take a
around.
seat. You came actually at the perfect time. Oh, yeah. So you came at the perfect time because what we want to do to sort of round out the special today, because this truly is such a community here, we wanted to tell a little bit of the story about how the college came to be what it is today. And John, I mean, you're a pivotal part of that.
You'll never guess who just texted me.
Live on air.
Me, you, and Marcus are here.
Oh, is it our friend?
Yeah, dude. I was like,
Shout
it's
out,
crazy to say
Jess.
that.
I love it. Incredible. All right.
Representative Jess Hansen.
Yeah. Well, and truly like the person that completes the four part of the early days of sort of our crew.
Mm-hmm.
So should we go back and sort of talk about the origins?
Yeah.
All right.
back.
So we're actually going to go back to before the Cannabis College to talk about how we sort of all met with each other. Because Steve, you met all of us, I think, after the Cannabis College was formed, after like 2020.
Yes.
But I met John for the first time back in 2016 through Marcus. But Marcus, do you want to know how I met you?
How?
So it was the election of 2016. We didn't have legal cannabis. We definitely weren't going to have legal cannabis. So I reached out on Facebook to Minnesota Normal and said, I think we should do a voter guide, sort of reaching out to people and letting them know like how this works. And they're like, yeah, we're not going to do that, but you should reach out to the Campaign for Full Legalization. So I'm like, all right, well, sure. So I sent them a message. I sent you a message. And you said, yeah, come and meet me at this recording studio. I'd be happy to talk about like our work and tell you a little bit more about it. This is, I think, also the first night that I met John as well.
Is that Red Sea?
It is, yeah. So
Oh
this
my
is like
God,
the
that was the first
upstairs.
night we met.
Yeah, so like the upstairs of a restaurant, and
It was like washed in red light.
washed in red light, and you were doing a podcast, which is just so like full circle for why we're here today. But you were doing a podcast talking about like why we need legalization, and I remember watching you roll a joint on camera, and thinking at the time, the police are gonna fucking come and raid this room right now. Like, what is he doing? Putting on air that he's smoking weed in Minnesota? I was blown away.
20 years old.
Yeah, I was. Just about. Really, I had sort of done some work with Minnesota Normal when I was in high school, but I mean, not really. Like, but was very interested in doing work and met you and met John. And that night we were packing envelopes that we were sending to lawmakers filled with a survey on, do you support home grow rights? Do you support social equity
Putting on the
provisions in the
pressure.
bill?
Yeah.
Not just asking, do you support legalization, but really, what does that look like? I think for the first time, really pulling lawmakers.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a great point in my life when I met y'all. You know, because I mean, y'all are like the heroes of Minnesota cannabis to me, and so the fact that we got to start our journeys, you know, at those points is just phenomenal to see where we are now.
Yeah, well, and
Persistence pays off. You know,
man.
showing up to do the right thing pays off in the long term.
Oh, yeah.
From that night, like, yeah, I feel like from all of us getting together, it turned into like 2-3 years of really not even thinking of it as like a dream or like something that's gonna happen.
Oh, yeah.
Is like really the way Marcus, I at least got me to
Yeah.
view it. Like it's just
Oh,
like
yeah.
something that's gonna happen, and we're gonna push it and try to make it good for like the people who currently consume and are really into it. I'll say I did this very similar story, Tanner.
Okay.
Where I went to a normal meeting. And it was like, okay,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
And then I went to a campaign for full legalization meeting, which at the time was just Marcus Harkis, fucking getting dozens of people into a room to talk about cannabis. It was super dope. I was like, hey man, can I talk to you after? We spoke for a while. I think this was at
New rules.
New Rules, yeah.
Yeah.
I met you at a coffee shop. You know,
Did I meet you before? Did I hit you up first? Because I was like,
I don't remember at this point.
yeah,
but it
because
was
I remember
downtown.
I was sending messages. Yeah, I was on the same thing as Tanner, just sending out messages and seeing like who actually wants to create policy for the state. And you were the only one trying to create actual policy.
Because a lot of people don't know how to do organizing, and they don't know what advocacy looks like if you're trying to change public policy. You know, a lot of these people like to do protests. You know, they like to have social clubs, but they're not really understanding what advocacy is
Bingo.
entails.
Yeah.
And I was, you know, I got into this working for Minnesota Normal, and I was trying to get them to do, and they did some political things and stuff, but most of those guys just want to like to hear themselves talk, you know, in meetings, and, you know, they don't understand the need to do organizing. And
I didn't know what a revisor's office was.
No.
we went
At
up
that
there.
time. Yeah, but then you took me
I
up
got a
there.
photo of young John and me outside the revisor's office. I'm like, this guy's
Yeah.
like 20 years old, lobbying.
Oh,
And now he's one of the people who's up there at the Capitol for us. You know what I mean? John is the boss.
Marcus Harkis in the building.
yeah, 100%. Well, and shout out to the fourth of our crew we mentioned earlier. Now Representative Jess Hansen, but then Jess Hansen.
Jess Hansen, our
Just
superstar.
Jess, yeah.
Our personal
Yeah.
superstar.
And so, I mean, like, just to like sort of lay out what that
Champion.
looked like, it was going to events and trying to get people to sign, like get registering to vote, like sign petitions. It was talking to lawmakers. I have this very clear memory of being in your living room on a Sunday with a group of 15 people. We were trying to do like a phone bank, and we were just doing our first call, and we were like, look, this is so easy. We're going to call someone and show you how it is. So we call them on speakerphone, and the lawmakers answer the phone and go, don't you know it's a Sunday? And I just was like, all right, well, sorry. And then we hung up, and we all just laughed and laughed, and then we called all the rest of them. But like, I
Quickly,
just
call them in like 10 minutes. When you got enough people, you can get a lot of shit done quickly.
yeah. So I mean, we just got to say shout out to the campaign for full legalization, because without that organization, without the work that you did, none of us would be at this table right now.
Major.
Yeah.
Major.
It-
All right.
Yeah.
So fast forwarding, because it's funny that our introduction to each other, at least the three of us, was through a podcast. Moving forward a little bit, do you guys want to know sort of where that first spark for the Minnesota Cannabis College really came from?
Tell us about this origin story, please.
Please.
All ears.
It is, it's a
Radio
podcast.
Disney.
So, Great Moments in Weed History is a podcast that talks about just great moments in weed history. And one of those great moments is the founding of Oaksterdam University. Now, they did a little history on like Oaksterdam, and I always thought of Oaksterdam as like this huge, big institute that was founded by many different people, and it wasn't. It was founded by one guy who said, I think more people should learn how to grow cannabis. And I guess I'm the one who's going
I
to do
want
that.
to make the Harvard of weed.
Steve D'Angelo?
No. So this was even before that. Steve D'Angelo is great, and he did a lot of work on getting that medicinal cannabis out. And I apologize, we'll cut his name in here later on because I
Yeah,
don't.
what's the guy's name?
Yeah,
Wait, I can
all
look
right.
it up.
Yeah. You look it up. The founder of Oaksterdam University. But in essence, he was the guy who said, "I know how to grow cannabis, and I want to teach other people how to do it." It was just through that medicinal side at the time. But looking at today, they're really an institute in teaching people how to grow cannabis on the adult use, on the medical, on the activism, on the business side.
Richard Lee.
Richard Lee. Shout out to Richard Lee.
Oaksterdam.
Yeah, we were definitely talking about Oaksterdam in the beginning visioning of what
Yeah.
Minnesota Cannabis College should be. So shout out to the models.
So 19-year-old Tanner was like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Oaksterdam. And I was like looking up how much it would cost to like rent an apartment for like 2 months to do their program, like how much I'd be paying to do that. And I'm just like, wow, I don't have the money for this. And I'm sure a lot of Minnesotans can't just like take 3 months out of their lives to go move to California.
Right.
And there's no reason you have to learn how to grow in California. I mean, fuck, people could be learning how to grow here in Minnesota. We just need that organization to do it.
Right.
So,
Minnesota.
We need a musical
Some
score.
sort of Minnesota.
yeah, some sort of like a Minnesota
Compa.
cannabis school, or like I don't know what you call it.
Minnesota.
Academy?
Definitely
An
Minnesota
academy.
cannabis.
Yeah, I really like that. Early forms of it were called essentially the Minnesota Cannabis College, but our logo was trash. But before we get to that, I reached out to this guy in July of 2020. So it's like middle of the pandemic. And I'm like, hey, man, you are the person I look up to in terms of cannabis activism. Can I please just pick your brain for
This
an
was like
afternoon?
right after Jess won her first election. And we were like, okay, like, we're
House
not
File
really sure what's
600.
next.
Yeah. House File 600 was introduced. There was like these grant programs written into the bill for people to educate people on how to grow. And I was looking around, and there weren't nonprofits teaching people how to grow cannabis. And I was like, wow, someone's got to do this. So I was like,
kind of Minnesota cannabis.
yes.
College.
Yeah. So I was like, Marcus, I got to connect with you. And so July of 2020, I reach out to Marcus. I have the text in front of me because I keep everything digitally, and I can't help myself. But we had reached out, and I said, I'm free most of next week, blah, blah, blah. I'd love to meet up.
Do you
And he
want to
said,
read your text and I read mine?
Oh, all right, sir. So
Is that doing the most?
no, let's do it. Because we can just do these. So, hey, man, it's Tanner. Per what I said earlier, because I had called you, I'd love to help with the cannabis count this year, which was the next version of the cannabis measure that we were doing. I'm free most of next week and the week after that if you wanted to meet and discuss it further. Or we could meet over Zoom, because it was a pandemic. I already have something preliminary set up to track it, so we just sort of have to do that if you'd like. Feel free to let me know what works best for you. Then you said,
Excellent! Exclamation mark. Let's meet. Let me know when you're available. Thanks so much. I look forward to learning about the Minnesota Cannabis College and how I can support you in building it.
oh, yeah. So that's the first time that we exchanged the words Minnesota Cannabis College. Fast forward, we actually have our first meeting, which we should say was just down the hill from where summer school was last year. And that is...
That's a magical spot, though. You know, that's like a vector.
Yeah, here's that map where you sent it to me, because I had never been there before. So September 16th, that's the first time that we meet. What I love, and I love telling this story, is we met. It was like a park bench. We sat down. It's like a picnic table. We're sitting across from each other. You start rolling a joint per usual. Like that's just sort of what you do when we hang out. And you go ahead and hit it. You sort of look at it. You look at me. You go, COVID. And you keep hitting it yourself, and you never pass it to me because COVID. So you can't do that. You know, you gotta hit it yourself. But I think that's such a moment in time that I'm never gonna forget.
I've never shared a joint again.
Never.
Except with Tisha.
Oh yeah. But so
he rolls a lot of joints though. He passes them out.
yeah.
I prefer a small water bomb though.
Yeah, Marcus is.
Oh yeah, you've since passed me many joints. That wasn't you never short. That wasn't a negative
And I
thing.
traveled throughout the whole pandemic.
Oh yeah, 100%. But man, truly, like it was so great to be able to connect with you. So September 16th, we say like, hey, we got to start doing something. You start reaching out to me about like we want to plan an event focusing on social equity in cannabis.
Yeah.
We get Deshita Dawson.
Wow.
We get Jason.
Heavy
Ortiz,
hitters.
both involved, and then Mr. Marcus Arcus himself to talk about social equity. But I mean, truly, we built a panel of people like Clem, people like Laylee, people like Deb, people like Gail,
Deb Kwame.
like people who help us to found our organization. If you look inside of our books, you can see their names because they still help us to run what we do. And
I mean, that initial board, even though most of them didn't show up and contribute very much,
put it on blast.
it was a dream team, though. Yeah, but then I learned small boards are better.
Oh.
But shout out to all of y'all for your support of our mission and our friendships and all your heavyweight contributions to the legalization and development of the legal cannabis industry.
So I went to...
I drank way too many edible drinks tonight.
So fast forwarding a little bit, I went to an event called the Walker Hemp Fest. Now, the Walker Hemp Fest was in Walker, Minnesota, which I mean this with love.
Really hard to get to.
Really hard to get to. Middle of nowhere in terms of cannabis
that north
culture
or
at the
south of
time.
here?
North.
They were not looking for a big turnout.
North and left.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's the worst one.
Way up there, way up there. But so I go up there. I got a booth for the Minnesota Cannabis College. I wasn't selling anything because we didn't really have anything to sell at the time. We were just there letting people know we exist. We want to connect. We want to help to educate this industry.
I think you had pens.
I had pens. I had lighters and
Good
Refillable lighters.
yeah, the clipper ones. Gotta love those.
Oh, man.
And then I had that big stock of hemp, the like harvested just husk.
Because you'd interned already.
Yeah, so that was post me interning at Grounded Gardens, post me working for Crested River. This
Still
was
have
me.
that.
I
that
do.
husk, don't
It's in
you?
our office.
Yeah,
I
was
love
gonna say,
it.
I've seen that thing.
Yeah, it's Minnesota history.
At
But
that, shout out to that time, man. Hemp.
Yeah.
Hemp. Your license plate, can I tell people? I think it was Hempster.
No.
Okay.
Shout out.
Okay.
No, just kidding. No. But 100%, like that industry at the time was incredible. But so I'm sitting there, I'm at this table, and this guy comes up with this super long pole, and at the end is a camera, and he's telling me he's doing 3D video of the Walker Hemp Fest. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, or excuse me, 360 video, 360.
Very 2021.
But so cool. And I remember watching and then seeing the video later, and that guy.
That's me.
That's you. Yeah.
I'm Steve with Clean Green Media, and I was at the Walker Hemp Fest with Hemp Goods Distribution, and I was trying to sell $50 hemp T-shirts because that's how much they were worth. You know, it's like we were putting posters of "End the War" or like pro
hemp for the war. Yeah. I still have that sweatshirt. I wear it all the time because I've got the graphic right on the back. It looks like that like World War II propaganda style poster, and it's.
I would love to do that in the future. Like hemp clothing is still out there for people. Hemp clothing hasn't been adopted like THC, you know, but Minnesota is still in a good position to grow hemp.
Oh yeah.
It's going to take more time.
Well, we have such a history of it, and I mean, honestly, it's just incredible. But yeah, so we have this interaction at the Walker Hemp Fest, and you know, I'll be honest, I didn't say connected to every single person at that event, but you were doing something pretty unique at the time, which was connecting people through, in essence, sort of like a live podcast, if you will, through Clubhouse.
Oh my gosh, Clubhouse was booming during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And for the cannabis industry, it connected people right away. So I saw that inclusion within the cannabis industry, and I was on Clubhouse for about a year. You know, roughly it came and went. But we went from meeting in person to meeting on Clubhouse and being able to share. And there were some really good updates on Clubhouse. We had maybe, I have screenshots from it too. Like Tanner, like I keep my iCloud is like 2 terabytes.
I love it.
And, 20 people on there. You know, this was vocal. This was Sean. This was Bridget. This was Casey. Chadwick would come on. You know, we had a lot of people on there. And that was an easy way during the pandemic. So that was like Wednesday or Tuesdays. And
yeah, I learned so much about Delta 8 at the time through those calls of people talking about like, here's why this is where we should be moving as an industry. Or some people saying, I have these concerns and this is why. And really, like, I think through that dialogue as an industry, through that discussion, being able to listen in to sort of a live podcast. I don't know. I keep coming back to that podcast theme, but it's like being able to come and discuss and share in knowledge, I think is really like a connecting thread of all of us here, but also throughout the cannabis industry in Minnesota.
We're all connectors. We're all about the community.
And
Shout
it's
out
like,
to you,
as
Steve.
small as the community feels sometimes, it's like always growing. I feel like at all these events, I see new people, I see new businesses, and it's...
We have to accept that. You know, I need to do a better job of accepting that in my own purview of the industry, because what is blocking us from more people is less adoption. So every vertical of adoption, whether it's new or old, helps grow the community. And if we have more people smoking cannabis, then we'll have better laws.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, we reach people that we don't even know. Just because they don't show up at events, some people may not be able to get to these events, you know?
That's facts.
There are
Shout
people
out
that are
to
aware of this, and they see this,
asking
and they feel
questions.
this, and the products touch them, you know? Just the progress that we've made. We mean over 1 million people in Minnesota will benefit from legalization. You know, we're never going to even know or think about some of the people that we're reaching, you know?
3 out of 4 grow cannabis at home.
Yeah, we're ending the stigmas. We're helping people have free legal access. People are getting their records restored. You know, shout out to everybody who's contributed. And a lot of people, we don't even know they contributed. They did it at their home or whatever on their phone.
Or they're getting educated. They're learning about the industry. That's really important.
Killing
Stopping the stigma, yeah.
Yeah, kill the stigma.
Kill the stigma.
End the criminalization and kill the stigma.
And the war on drugs.
All together.
Well, so we talked about sort of how we each are connected to the Cannabis College, but we do want to shout out one other person who really is sort of fundamental in what we do and how we run. That's Shayna. So Shayna, our other board member, we got
Nelly
3
May.
of them here. Yeah, like truly someone who, one of those original board members who, no shade, was showing up to meetings and continues to show up.
She does what she says.
Always.
Truly a mover and shaker in the industry, and just
Type A.
in the best way, though, in truly the best way, someone who continues to help us and lead us. So shout out, Shayna. You're not here tonight, but thanks so much for being part of our team.
Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for being so beautiful and representing the black women in cannabis and all the women. And thank you for
All you do.
great ideas and the great work that you do.
Yeah. So
you are an unsung hero.
Oh, honestly, 100%. So
Legendary.
thanks, Shayna. So before we go tonight, I do want to do one other thing, which is, Steve, you are connected to the college through not as like a board member, but through more of our shared goal in education. We did a class on the eve right before legalization. Like when I think of like the moments before legalization went into effect, it's sitting around at this grow class, teaching people how to cut clones and sharing this plant that just hours away, people would be able to be growing in their homes legally for the first time in decades. And we've got an event coming up that you said you were going to plug here tonight. And then you brought some bath bubbles.
No, not bath bubbles, Tanner. We're not going to use the shower at the Wilderness.
This was starting to feel creepy.
What we got potatoes?
Okay, so have you heard of
Not just potatoes.
hash?
Hash.
Yeah, this is called hash. It's cooked on like a stovetop, and it's hash. Like I wanted to make bubble hash, so I brought. I heard about like a bonanza, and so I've got like an extra one if you wanted to play. Like I've got these bubble guns. Is that what you were planning on May 5th?
I'm absolutely
Is that what you guys are
confused.
planning?
Well, I
I
mean,
think I should leave right now.
you're
You guys
Steve,
aren't. You guys aren't
Steve.
coming to the.
Steve, you're talking about like the bubble hash bonanza with like with Bovida,
Yeah, like Bonanza.
with Cornell,
Shooting
Granny's,
the guns.
Trichome Collector. You think we're all gonna get together and learn how to make?
Like cooking with Clem, like cooktop hash browns.
Some bubbles.
We could
on
crack
top.
some bubbles, like. Boop, 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 boop.
50 milligrams later.
Well, that's all we got for today. But if you do want to learn how to make bubble hash, not bubbles hash, but bubble hash.
The type of cannabis concentrate. you
Yeah,
can vaporize and get high
mncannabiscollege.org
on.
/hash. In fact, like we'll have wash machines
Just
there. You
to
can learn
taste
how to
it.
do it.
Steve, you
Yeah.
just be
Just to
blowing
taste it.
bubbles when you
Steve,
make
I thought Clem was gonna be here.
Oh,
I
man.
brought hash browns.
Oh,
See,
a picture
all right.
of him in the kitchen blowing bubbles while he's
While you get
making
cooking them
breakfast.
up.
Guys, we got to connect before we do our next live show. We can't keep
What type of
What is-
ketchup do you eat?
Steve.
A for effort.
I'm sorry, guys.
All right. Well, for those in the live stream, I mean, honestly, thank you so much for joining in for the first ever Northern Lights Live. It was episode 30. We wanted to do something special.
30 on
Dabbler
420,
Depot
that's
here is
cool.
opening their Seed and Sesh 951 Payne. Steve is out of here, but that means you should come on down here. Come on down to the Seed and Sesh.
Hey.
This whole weekend, there's stuff going on. You can catch classes going on here. You can catch people. Clem is going to be here. We were shouting out him.
Dabney.
Cat 7,
Cat 7.
Stefan Egan.
Stefan Egan.
Some incredible
Ladies and
people.
gentlemen.
Stuff going on all weekend. You can take a class from Kale. I want to come and take a class from Kale.
Kale.
Come on down, Dabbler Depot.
And last but not least,
951
Tater
Payne.
Bears.
Honestly, thank you guys so much for tuning in. To those tuning in on Monday, thank you so much for watching. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. I don't have my script in front of me, so hopefully I got them all. But you can always find us here on the Northern
LinkedIn.
Lights feed. LinkedIn, that's another one.
X and
Clubhouse?
Blue
No,
Sky,
not
Blue
anymore.
Sky.
Blue Sky. Coming soon to Blue Sky. Coming soon to whatever
On
platform
Tumblr.
you want. No.
Always.
Thanks
get
for
Ken's
tuning
phone
in.
number.
We'll catch you next time. Northern Lights coming to you live here at Dabbler Depot. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you again soon.
Smoke and dab responsibly.
Northern Lights is a Minnesota Cannabis College production. This episode was produced by me, Tanner Barris, and by my co-hosts John Barty and Marcus Harkis. Production assistance from Shayna Payton and Steve Eigenman. Today's episode is presented by North Star Law Group, your trusted partner in Minnesota's burgeoning legal cannabis industry. The information provided in this podcast does not and is not intended to constitute legal advice, but is instead for general information purposes only. Information shared may not constitute the most up-to-date or legal information. No listener should act solely on the basis of information provided without first seeking their own legal counsel. The opinions and views expressed on this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect those of the Minnesota Cannabis College. Please listen responsibly.